Today, I'd like to talk to you about the invasive species of Phragmites. It's invading Ontario wetlands, shorelines, and roadsides. Invasive Phragmites is a non-native breed from Eurasia quickly spreading throughout North America. The towering plant takes over moist areas, choking out a lot of life from neighboring plants. It overpowers native wetlands, leaving frogs and turtles without vital habitat and blocking shoreline views and access. Once introduced into the area, the plant's roots spread far and wide, below wetlands in a vast network. Its seeds are easily wind dispersed, allowing Phragmites to further invade other habitats. Phragmites is listed as a restricted species under the Invasive Species Act of 2015. The impacts of invasive Phragmites. In Ontario, invasive Phragmites are in many parts of the province, mainly along shorelines, roadside ditches, and interior wetlands. The spread of Phragmites can be traced along highway corridors across the province. Their environmental impacts are, as it grows, it crowds out native vegetation, resulting in decreased plant biodiversity, providing poor habitats and food supplies for wildlife. The economic effects on agriculture, which lead to economic losses, while stands of Phragmites can affect property values. The social impacts, they can cause roadside safety hazards as it grows in the roadside ditches. The impacts to recreational activities such as boating, swimming, and fishing. As you notice from the photos, you'll see to the left, you'll see Phragmites growing in a ditch along a highway. The other is a photo of a picture in the wetlands, how it just overpowers. The ecological impacts of Phragmites. Phragmites has ecological impacts, and its rapid rate of speed can alter aquatic ecosystems. It forms dense monocultures, outcompeting native wetland vegetation. It alters the hydrology of a wetland. It lowers the native diversity of the benthic invertebrates. It reduces habitat, wildlife, and native fish. It disrupts the nutrient cycle. It spreads easily once it is established, and it has an extensive rhizome system. Identifying invasive Phragmites. To these pictures will show what the invasive Phragmites and the native Phragmites look like. The invasive one has the lots of seed heads and very thick stems. Native Phragmites grows in stands that are usually not as dense as the invasive species. Native species are frequently mixed with other plants. The native species have a reddish-brown, yellow-green leaves and smaller, sparser seed heads. Well, on the other hand, the invasive species is a robust, erect perennial grass that is aquatic and subaquatic, growing heights of over 5 meters. The invasive Phragmites grows extremely dense with as many as 200 stems per square meter. The invasive Phragmites has rigid stems and leaves that alternate up to 70 centimeters. Leaves are flat and between 8 to 60 millimeters wide. The life cycle of the Phragmites. The life cycle of the Phragmites. Between November and March, it's dormant, and between April and May is the germination period. Between June and July is the primary vegetative state, and between August and September is the flowering of the plant. And between September and October is when the translocation of the nutrients occurs, or the seeding. Important to note that these are general timelines which may vary among different sites. How Phragmites spreads. Phragmites spreads new sites via seeds, rhizomes, stolons, and stem dispersal. Seeds can be dispersed by winds of up to a radius of 10 kilometers. The seeds also can be dispersed by flowing water. Dis- Disturbed sites such as construction zones are more vulnerable to colonization. Humans are one of the most main causes of Phragmites spread. Once these plants become established, its expansion is exponential. Phragmites management, controlling it. There are many techniques used to control Phragmites. Cutting underwater is also known as cut to drown. It's an effective, however, more time-consuming technique. Herbicide is another technique. However, strict guidelines must be used depending on municipalities and local authorities. Mechanical removal is a strategy used when there is an abundance and there is large machinery is used to remove and dispose of it. Once removed, it is either isolated or removed off-site to dispose of properly to stop the spread. Many conservation areas in Ontario utilize volunteers from the community to get involved and safely control the removal of Phragmites in local parks and wetlands. Like the picture above is a picture shown on the shorelines of Collingwood where I helped them remove Phragmites from the shorelines of Collingwood. Rehabilitation and monitoring. To help sustain a positive growth of natural habitats and plant species, an action plan must be put in place. The removal of Phragmites off-site to promote plant growth. Develop a long-term monitoring management plan. Remove isolated plants and populations as they appear. Revegetate the site with competitive native grass, shrubs, and woody plants to resist the Phragmites invasions. For more information on the invasive species of Phragmites, you can visit many of these websites on the identification and the removal and volunteering help for the removal of this Phragmites invasive species.